You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series and syndicating for the A-List Online. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and the interview subjects I've got coming up for you comprise the membership of excellent Adelaide heavy rock outfit Audio Rain. The reason for the conversation is to promote Audio Rain's brand new self-titled album, which was released in November of 2018. So let's have a listen to what the lads have to say. Here we go. Look, why don't I kick off by asking you to go around the circle there and introducing yourselves.
Okay.
Cool. Left of the dealer. I'm Alek. I'm the lead guitarist.
I'm Ash. I slap the bass guitar.
Nice.
I'm Jake, lead singer, and I do rhythm behind him.
And this is Dieter. I drum and do some vocals.
Indeed, and you're all a member, or all members, I should say, of the wonderful Adelaide-based metal troupe Audio Rain. Now, here's my take on things, okay, because I know the self-titled album's been out for over a month now, and I've listened to it quite a bit. It's great driving music, so it's one of those albums that works really well in the car. My take on it, now feel free to disagree with me here or otherwise, is that your music is a ball-busting, metallified take on the rock that Grinspoon made famous. So I hope that comparison resonates, but if I was going to hand it over to you guys, which I'll do now, how would you describe the music on the album?
Probably not half as well as you just did.
Yeah, great, man.
Feel free to use it.
Sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. We've spoken about this other times, and if someone said, "What do we like?" and I've said it before, people come up to us after our gigs and they say, "You sound like this band," or "You sound like that band." You know, we love this and that. And the funny thing is that generally, when the people say this, it's always someone different. You know, it can be anyone from bloody Metallica to Stone Sour. Someone today said you sound like Carnival, and I just, you know, what I take from that is that they hear our music and they hear things that they like in bands that they like, and they find that in our music. So because it's always someone different, I reckon that we sound like Audio Rain.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, there's definitely a very original strain through your music, but that was the Grinspoon was the closest. And what I really like about your music too, and I hope this helps, is that it wouldn't sound out of place on Triple J or on Triple M. You guys get Triple M down there in Adelaide, don't you?
Yes, we do. Yeah. Hey, we're all wizard for that. Yeah, can you make that happen?
Well, I wish I could, mate. You know, otherwise I might not be at uni myself. I might be a permanent musician myself as well if I get stuff played on Triple M and Triple J. But it's really, and I've asked this question a lot of artists, so I'm going to ask you guys now: how the hell do you get stuff played on commercial radio?
Yeah, that's the question that we're still asking, and we're still trying to sort out and work out. Yeah, I mean,
Being with a label helps, I think.
That's true. But I think also sometimes, and I mean, I'm not going to say that exactly, but I'm sure that there's the right crowd and the right people, and you know, you got to play what they want you to play. I don't know, like you just said, we fit fine on Triple J and Triple M, but yeah, you need to get that break. And I think a lot of it with the stations, especially, I mean, probably Triple M, you know, it's like any radio. You know, music gets in the way of ads, but maybe homebrewed, that's Triple M, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think it is.
I mean, yeah, you push and you get your PR and you try and send stuff out, but you just need someone to hear your music like you, listen to it and go, man, how have you described us before? We need them to say that and go.
Yeah, it seems easier to get played overseas, actually.
It does. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And the interesting thing about you guys, so I am going to blow smoke up your asses a little bit here, but you're one of the very few metal bands around at the moment. I know there's the big prog metal bands, you know, the Carnivals and the Caligula Horses that are overseas doing it, but you guys are more of a real metal band. You know what I'm saying? You guys are a rock and heavy metal band, and you're one of the few bands that I've listened to, and I've watched plenty of your videos, believe me. I've watched the video that you did up there on Balcony TV. If you were given the opportunity, you wouldn't fuck it up. You know, if you were asked to support Alice in Chains, you wouldn't fall apart mid-tour because you guys couldn't get along or what have you. I mean, I'm only assuming that, but the music is really together, and live, you guys really do it. So have you put it out there to some tour managers, to promoters and to agents to say, hey, look, we're available, or is it a case that, you know, we've talked a little bit before what's gone to air now, or what I'll be putting to air about the financial situation, is it's just too hard to sort of put yourself out there and say, we're ready for any opportunity because you've got jobs and mortgages and rents and potentially even kids that need you to hold a job down, so you can't focus 100% on the band, so to speak, in that regard.
I mean, that is true to a point. We do, you know, for the bands to just drop everything and go away, you've got to be, I think, you've got to be single. You've got to not care about anything and just go hardcore. I mean, bands can still have, families, mortgages, and make it. And we do put it out there to promoters, and we call on, it's a lot of it is always also, you've got to have the product there. You've got to have good music. You've got to have a good stage performance, a good show. So you've got to have the goods behind you, but you also need to know people as well. And, we try and pull on everyone we can to try and make it. We just supported US Rockers Skillet. They chose us to be their main support when they came, and that was 1,000 crowd, and that crowd hadn't actually heard us. And after the first song, they were hooked, and every song they were cheering, clapping. We sold a shitload of merch, and they said, "Where are you guys from?" I said, "We're from here, man." But it's so it's just, if they see you with the bands they like, and then they sort of they're open to going, "Hang on, who are these guys? They're awesome." We might follow these guys, but locally, I always find it's a bit harder. People like to think that you're bigger, and they want to follow that. But the music should speak for itself, like it did that night. And we picked up a heap of new fans. So we keep pushing now, for more big supports. And to get on a big tour would be great. But like we're saying, Australia is a bit hard, and I think we really need to try and get over to Europe and do some stuff once again.
Yeah.
Yes, money and some help. I think we need a sugar daddy today.
Yeah, benefactor.
You need a benefactor. One of you needs to win the lotto or something. Yeah, it's like that for everybody. But I guess the difference between you guys and a lot of other, when I say indie bands, work with me here, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about bands that aren't signed and bands that aren't played on commercial radio. You guys would actually make the most of it. And here's a band that I think you'd go down really well on a tour with, and that's US Thrashers from New Jersey. Overkill. I reckon you and Overkill would be a brilliant double header if that could ever go over in the States or in Europe.
They've just got a new album out as well.
Yeah, it's coming out. Yeah, I've spoken to Blitz a couple of times, and he's a champion of a human being.
Is he? So now, once again, can you make that happen?
Well, I have no doubt that I'll be able to talk to him on the promotion of the album cycle again, and I'll mention it to him. And what I'll do is I'll make the point of asking a question. If a band thinks that they're good enough, how do they reach out to the promoters or the agents as far as Blitz is concerned? He might not have the answers, of course, because a lot of these things are organised in Australia. And to your exact point there that you made so well, it is about who you know and what you know, and there's a lot of hand jobs and all the rest of it that go on, or circle jerking that goes on, and a lot of the best bands don't get the opportunity, and we know that. That's been like that for 50-odd years in the music business, isn't it? But you'd like to see a great band like yourself actually be given the opportunity and really make the most of it.
And in fact, he might like hear our CD and take us under his wing.
Yeah.
Come and tour with us, boys.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, you have had... You do know how to get in touch with people that can make things happen, and I'm talking about Jens Bogren. So I was reading your Facebook bio. Now, I've spoken to Andreas from Sepultura, Miller from Creator, and a few other pretty serious world-class heavy metal musicians, and they've only got really, really positive things to say about working with Jens. But how was it for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, Jens was he does a great mix.
Jens, by the way.
We got a German here, and he's
oh yeah,
Texas. No, he's. Jens. We got in touch with Jens because he was out there. He does some great mixes, and it was for us. It was affordable too, and to get a good mix and get your album engineered or produced by someone like that is fantastic. And he stepped back. Done a great job. We used them on the first on the EP. The second EP, we decided to try something different. We went with a local guy called Jared Nettle, and he's a bit of a young gun. And so he's done this new album, and people are hearing it going, "Wow, man! It's that hard rock sound, but it's got a new age sound to it. It's got something different." And that's probably partly due to Jared's done with it, so as well,
Yeah, it definitely has the grittiness of old school Rose Tattoo in my view. I was listening to Rose Tattoo today. I listened to your stuff and then I put on Rose Tattoo and I found some similarities there. Not that it sounds like it. I'm talking about the attitude and the approach, but you've also got that production that the young fella that you've just mentioned has helped you obtain that a lot of the deathcore and the metalcore acts are using. So you can hear all of the instrumentation very clearly.
Yeah, it's still that heavy rock with those little metal influences. Yeah, genres are funny, and people try and say, we've been told we're new metal, we've been told we're just hard rock, and we've been told we are metal. We've been told by everyone all different things, but as long as you like it.
Yeah.
To me, I just say we're heavy rock.
Yeah. No, that's
the heavy from heavy metal and the rock from hard rock. Heavy
rock. That's why I like alt rock, because alt metal it sort of encompasses everything.
But
it
who
does.
knows what we're going to go do on the next album and how we're going to go, because this album itself, like you said, you've heard it. It's a bit of a journey. There's there's some you go from the heaviness of betrayal or broken to the more emotional like senses and shining light. We just wanted to have something there for everyone on this album, so it wasn't all just the same song. We wanted to be able to reach out to a lot of people. So show all different sides.
Well, we don't want to get bored with our own music too, so
keep a bit of dynamic in it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A bit of variety.
Now, you're the second Adelaide hard rock band I've spoken to. The first one was the fellow in As I Destruct. Great band too. And you both represent exactly what you're saying. It's heavy rock, okay? It's heavy rock. That's I couldn't find a better description myself for it. Now, I feel, and I've heard some other stuff that's come out of Adelaide, I just haven't had a chance to talk to the guys in the bands yet, but I feel as though there's something of a metal resurgence that's happening in Adelaide. Or is it just that the wonderful music that's being produced in the city is finally making it out, and it's always been like that? What is your take on that?
I think we've just found other avenues to reach out to people apart from the local scene. The local scene in Adelaide has always been really hard. But with things like social media and just having such a big launch and putting so much into it, we've reached out a bit further this time, I think. And even at the Skillet gig we played, that was to a lot of people that wouldn't usually come out to local gigs. So
because of them. But the metal scene itself, though, Adelaide has got a big metal scene. I mean, and there's some really heavy bands too, man. With the Cookie Monster vocals and stuff. There's that out there. We just got asked. We got invited to come and play for the Churches of Steel Festival in February in Adelaide. There's about 17 bands, and I think there's a band from Sweden, some from Victoria, one from Tasmania. There's all different bands. It's a third one they've had, Churches of Steel. And we're probably on the lighter stage at the edge of that, because we do we're quite melodic, and we've got we'll play our arsenal of heavier songs, but for that whole Church of Steel, we are probably one of the lighter bands. But when you have these sort of shows, I think it's nice to have a bit of everything. And I'm sure once again, we can like the heaviest music, but you still got that spot inside you where you like other stuff as well. And I think that'll go down well. But Adelaide definitely has a heavy scene.
Indeed, it does. Yeah. What's your take, talking about festivals, what's your guys' take on the Download lineup next year, the 2019 one?
Oh, it's not even fair.
It's missing one crucial band.
You're never fucking happy, are you?
I
say, all right, never mind. Don't mind me.
Exactly. No, it's a killer lineup. I fucking love to be on it.
Well, it's a good point though, because my view is this. Okay, look, I'm in my 40s, so I've been around. I've been an active listener of heavy metal for at least 25 odd years, definitely longer, but I'll just be conservative and say 25 odd years. Now, I don't remember when Painkiller came out, but I remember when that was the most recent Judas Priest album, so 91 or 92 or thereabouts. So I, of course, remember when bands like Megadeth had Countdown to Extinction. So just focusing on the bands that are on the bill, though. So Ozzy, always been a big fan of his stuff. One of the first albums I ever bought was No Rest for the Wicked. You've also got...
Great album.
Yeah, and indeed, and then you got Slayer. One of the other albums that I got, one of the first albums I got was their Decade of Aggression live album. So that's 1991 or so. Now, the interesting thing for me is that I don't go to gigs too often these days because I've got a family and I just simply can't get out as often as I'd like to get out. So I've got to pick and choose the bands that I go and see. But I always go down to these big festivals in Melbourne, like Download. So I'll be going again. Last year, what surprised me was the amount of kids, I'm talking 14, 15, 16, that were walking around with Judas Priest T-shirts, Slayer T-shirts, Metallica. It really surprised me. And my question for you, lads, is do you think metal and hard rock is a little too focused on legacy acts and not, say, as affording new bands such as yourself? And is this part of the problem? Heavy metal fans, and I don't even think it's the media because I have to include myself as part of the media and I do champion new bands. Okay, but do you think the fans are too focused on legacy acts?
I read about this recently. I saw this come up. They were talking about this about who was it? Actually, was it Led Zepp, wasn't it? It was someone was saying someone. I thought it was someone was talking about this. And I don't know. I think that everyone needs their heroes, man. And these, I know they're aging. You go over to Germany and that. They have these massive festivals, and you've still got all those old, the bands from the old days, like bloody Cinderella and Rat, and bloody, they have these big hair metal festivals. They're all still around. And like the likes of Slayer and Metallica, they started this shit, and so I think it's cool for people to follow them and wear them. But what they could do is once again, like other festivals have a new music stage and give some local bands, and some new bands a shot, with them.
It's definitely a bit of column A, column B styles sort of stuff. Obviously you're always going to have your legacy there, but you want to get the new stuff out as well. Yeah.
It's got to filter in somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess that's. Sorry, you go. You're on.
Well, the problem is we used to have TV shows where you could watch all this stuff, all these bands, their videos, etc. You don't really have that anymore. You're not going to see much hard rock on there on Rage, or you're definitely not going to see it on the Loop,
MTV.
So, unless people actually go out of their ways to find this music on YouTube, they're not going to be exposed to it, the new stuff, are they?
Because I just look what they want on YouTube. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there seems to be, like, the underground thrives, of course, but that's a very difficult scene. It does. There's a lot of blogs out there that focus on underground bands. I guess I'm looking at who's going to replace Ozzy, because God knows how old he is these days, and it's not necessarily about age.
He doesn't know how old he is. Like.
Oh my God! But it's about capability, and he's a full beat sometimes behind the rest of the band when he's singing.
No, but apparently he reckons he's just hit 70 or something, and he reckons he's like not keen on retiring. It's like,
well, I guess it's Ozzy's one thing, but Slayer. We know Slayer. If the recent interviews and the responses Kerry King is giving in interviews, look, they're going to be consolidating things and packing it up fairly soon. You got Judas Priest, so you got Glenn Tipton, so KK's long gone. And Glenn Tipton's out, so who the hell's going to write the music there? Is it going to be Andy Sneap or the other fella that looks like KK Downing that they've brought in? So I'm talking about the bands that are on the Download lineup again, and I'm sort of wondering in the next 5 years which bands are ready to step up and replace, because for me, a lot of metal fans, they might tolerate the Korns of the world, but they're not the bands that are going to replace them. I'll ask, this will be my last question, sorry guys, but which bands do you think, and I know, please put yourself into this, so promote yourselves, who's going to step up and replace the Judas Priests, the Slayers, the Ozzy Osbournes, probably even the Metallicas, because I'm not really sure that Lars has got too much in him left, to be quite frank with you, unless Chris Adler or one of those other wonderful drummers steps in and takes his place.
Yeah, most definitely Oya, Ryan. You fucking nailed it. Yeah.
There you go.
It's us. And I don't know who else, but I know that we're there. No, there is a shitload of great bands out there. And, and the shitload of bands with different genres. I mean, there's a lot of bands that do sound the same too, because of that sort of genre and style. But, I think you've got to have a few of each. And who they are will be the ones who, because it said like they can all have an awesome show and great music. It's just going to be the person that knows the right people and gets that lift up. Really, it's a lucky draw, I reckon.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good response
Yeah,
by
I like
somebody in the business. Yeah, I know, and that's true, and that's true and correct. That's why I say that. You know, it'll be the person who is in the right place at the right time and who has the right contacts, or the band, I should say.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I don't think anyone is ever going to make it that big again. Those times have changed, you know, completely.
Yeah, there's going to be no massive rock stars.
Yeah, it's interesting though. The festivals are still going to go, so they still need their massive headliners, don't they? You know, they still need their big draw.
That's true. That is true.
And that's where I wonder.
Let's put it out there now for any big promoters and that listening, and anyone who hasn't heard Audio Rain. As Molly would say, do yourself a favour. go and have a listen to our album and vote number 1 Audio Rain.
There you go. Thanks, lads. That was a wonderful interview. I really appreciate it. You have been listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series and syndicating for the A-List Online. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and that conversation featured the members of Adelaide heavy rock outfit Audio Rain. Thank you so much for listening.